Yes.
Okay, next up is maintenance operations, and we're also going to try to do development services before lunch. So, Faith, it's all
Okay.
yours.
Do you mind if I should be okay with this off, right? My glasses get too
Yes,
fogged
you're more than
up.
6 feet away from everyone.
So, good morning, everyone. We're here to talk about maintenance operations. Oh, I'm supposed to do this, I'm sorry. Okay. As you know, we have 9 different divisions, so we'll go over a little bit about each one. I'm not going to read through all this, but this is mainly our mission statement for the department. It's our mission to respond promptly to customer service concerns, safeguard the environment, protect the city's assets and public improvements, and to consistently respect the needs of our residents. So we have, I don't think I need to go through probably all of that. For next year's budget, we're not requesting any new positions, and the only change in this chart from last year is David moved on to a different position, so sports complex is not in this budget, it's in leisure services. And our administrative budget is basically for the administrative staff at the 124 Industrial Park. Minor changes there just in our cost for janitorial services, pest control, annual maintenance of our software. We are requesting replacement of the roof of that building. It's a 45-year-old flat roof. It is one of the projects that was identified through the solar study. If there was a possibility of putting solar panels on that roof, that was one of the buildings that they had recommended if there was funding available for that. If I'm going too quick through any of these, let me, okay.
We'll speak up.
Okay. Next division is building maintenance. They're responsible for maintaining all of our buildings throughout the city. Their personnel expenses, well, overall their expenses have declined for this next year, decreased. The only equipment they're asking for is a cargo trailer to help them house hurricane shutters and move different equipment back and forth to job sites. Our next budget is our fleet. That's an enterprise fund. That has gone up slightly due to an increase in fuel due to additional vehicles, increase in the type of the synthetic oil and lubricants because we have newer equipment. We are proposing a $2.50 per gallon charge or $2.50 per gallon for gas rate utilized for all the departments. One thing that's not on here, we just had another lightning strike yesterday in that storm that took out our fuel tanks. We are going to look at what we can do because we've had 2 in a month. So we're looking to see what we can do to protect the fuel pumps and everything a little more next year. And I should have said Gary from the golf course, Pam from the marina, and Garrett is here from Fleet too if you have any specific questions about their divisions when we get there.
Hey, Faith, since we're talking about fleet, I just want to kind of bring him up to speed on some of the discussions that we're talking about in terms of the fleet. And I think I mentioned to the commission individually that we were looking at options with the Utilities Commission on consolidation. So our staff has met with the UC staff on several times, looking at the possibility of they're trying to build a new facility for their fleets, and that is to relocate from the swoop site. So they looked at a couple of conceptuals between the staff, our city staff, and the UC staff. They liked one option, which it's a combined building. Each has their own base. They share the common areas such as the break room, bathrooms, and meeting rooms. I have explored another option, and that is for one of the agencies to take over the entire fleet maintenance facility. I met with the CEO for the utilities last week. I told him to explore this option, see, what can we do there. He talked to his finance director and his staff. They came up with a proposal that we are looking at this point. So 3 options available. One is we remain where we're at without any consolidation. Option 2, we could move into their new facility and share facility with them. And then option 3, for them to take over the fleet facility completely, and we'll be just taking our equipment and vehicles there for repair. If we share the building with them, based on their conceptual plan, the cost of that building is about $8 million. Our share is $3 million. So this afternoon, when Mark Galvin, our financial advisor, come in to make his presentation at 4:45, one of the items there to discuss will be these capital projects for financial funding, such as the FEMA grants and the bridges and landscaping on US 1. In addition, he will have the $3 million, our share, for this facility. Now, this is not going to happen tomorrow or in a month. This probably is going to take between 2.5 years to 3 years by the time to design the building, put it out to bid, and build it. So that's going to take some time. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But I just want to make sure that you're aware and give you an update on where we're at in terms of the discussion. So these are the 3 options that we have at this point. We haven't recommended one at this point. We want to try to make sure that we evaluate all the financial feasibility and economic feasibility and saving. If none of them is a saving money for us, I'm not sure why would we even consider it. So that's the basic idea, is to make sure that we have some basic financial analysis and choose the best option for us, and obviously is for the utilities as well. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that.
Okay, on that subject, is there anything in this, in our current budget that deals with this issue? I know we have some maintenance of some buildings.
Yeah.
Does it affect any of them? Is there anything that we should perhaps not do because we may be moving the facilities?
Yeah. Right now, Vice Mayor, she has $800,000 for the relocation of Smith Street, and then $200 for the maintenance of the barn. Both of these 2 items are not in the budget. They're actually under the items that is unfunded. Now, if we choose the option of relocating our facility out where the UC is building their building, that facility will be vacant, and that will give us the opportunity to relocate the building maintenance facility on Smith Street over to maintenance operations. So this way, you could have the entire property there that is available for whatever we wanted to use it for. But right now, the 2 items that you mentioned, they are not in the budget. The only item that I would probably point out to you is probably the 800. I would not even consider it at this point. But the $200,000 for the maintenance of the barn, the last time it was maintained was back in early 2000. That barn sits out there in the open with the salt air. If you don't do something to it, it would become probably a bigger item, ticket item. So that's why I would just point out the $200,000 is for the barn. The $800,000 is for the relocation of Smith Street back to maintenance operation.
Okay, just so that everybody understands, where is that physically located?
Excuse me?
Where is it?
The Smith Street?
Oh, Smith. I didn't hear Smith. All right.
That's where our building maintenance is right now. It's, if you recall, the utilities had a portion of the property, and then the other portion, which is sits at the corner of Live Oak and Smith Street, that is the building maintenance facility.
And just to go along with that, part of the $800,000 estimated expense to move Smith Street was to move it if Fleet was staying and build another type of storage bay, and we'd have to have 2 enclosed bays for the sign shop and that kind of thing. But if we were gonna do one of the options with moving Fleet out, that would all change too.
Okay, obviously it's a very fluid situation. The Smith Street area is really old, and I hate putting any additional monies into that.
Right.
If we're going to, in 2 years or so, move out. It's like the chief said,
Right.
you don't want to spend $70,000 repairing
Right.
a $25,000 car. That applies to buildings too.
We're trying to keep it's all multiple little buildings if you've been over there, so we have to try to keep those going. But the 9-bay storage building that Colin called the barn is out at maintenance operations on Industrial Park.
Okay,
Okay?
yes. Are you all set?
No, I got more.
Oh, please, go ahead. I just wanted to,
Sorry.
I wanted to make sure you finished before we start
Oh,
asking questions.
okay, sorry. Okay. Parks Division, we were able, we had a $70,000 decrease in our landscaping right-of-way contract, $35,000 for the bid came in lower. And last year we had anticipated, because that bid comes in April, we thought when we went out to bid that the cost would go up, and it didn't. So that was great. So that's where our decline in expenses for parks is. And then we had some minor operating increases, but it's offset by the difference in that. The Parks Department is asking for equipment, 2 pickup trucks to replace 2004 Ford and a 2005 Ford, and a pressure washer trailer as part of our capital request. Streets Division, we were able to come down, well, not really able to come down in this one. This one had increase, the largest increase in here is the signal maintenance for the railroad crossings at these 2 crossings. $185,000, that's something the city entered into agreements like years and years and years ago that we're responsible for. The one piece of equipment that we were asking for in streets is a construction flatbed truck to replace a 1997 Ford dump truck. So, streets. Stormwater, some decreases in operating expenses. We're asking in that one for another pickup to replace another 2004 Ford. And then the capital outlay projects, I'm sure you're all aware of the flood mitigation grant is shown in stormwater. And we also put in money to fund different small projects as we have different flooding events throughout the city that we can do either in-house or contract out, and that's what the 250 is for. Golf course. Overall, they had some minor increases in their administration budget, but their maintenance budget has come down. Gary's here if you have any specific questions about that, but the basic increases were repair and maintenance, the cost of sand, clay, fertilizer, everything to run the course. They are asking for a utility cart with a dump bed, and a Kubota for routine maintenance throughout the golf course. And I don't think I need this. This honestly was a slide from last year. It was just measuring some of the way they're allowing customers to make tea times 24 hours a day, different things that they're improving their operations. Our marina budget went down $45,000. This year, or this budget year, we're doing the design of the restroom upgrade, and next year it was hoped that we could do the actual construction, go out to bid and do the upgrade of the restrooms for the marina. But they have a reserve fund of $750,000. They're doing very well at the marina. Solid waste, most of that increase is due to the 1,700 customers that we brought into the city as of April 1st. And then we had, annexations throughout the year. So those are new customers paying new fees. And then we're paying, of course, back out to Waste Pro. And the commission just approved last last meeting, you approved their 3% cost of living increase for Waste Pro. That's reflected in there too. And this really, I pretty much mentioned all the equipment we were talking about that's in this chart for this year, and this just shows some of the equipment going out further years. We try to go by the life cycle of police department vehicles, 7 years, 100,000 miles, non-PD, 10-year, 100,000, and heavy equipment, 10 to 15 years. Although we have some dump trucks there that are a bit older than 15 years. So that's that. And I think I mentioned all the capital, there's going to be a discussion, I believe, later about unfunded projects. These were all proposed in our budget. As far as, I think I talked about administration, fleet. Buena Vista Park, we're proposing that we, add surfacing. It's got fitness equipment on it, and it has a mulch surface. Poured in place surfacing would be a better option for that park. The Rocco Park Fishing Pier, we're awaiting whether, oops, I have a typo there. That's not FEMA funding. Oh, no, Rocco is, I'm sorry. Buena Vista Park, we're doing I'm sorry. Let me back up. Buena Vista Park, the North Pier replacement, that's the $698,000. We're waiting to see if we get a find grant for half of that. Old Fort Wall is, I believe, planned out to the next year. That and the other part of Buena Vista. Rocco Park, we had initially recommended demolishing that pier. We've heard recently from FEMA that there's a possibility that even though it's this far from the hurricane that damaged it, that they possibly will fund that. And that was estimated back in 2018 at $295,000. Dune Spyglass Fishing Pier is in this budget to remove. I understand there's been some, I don't know if Colin's going to probably bring that up under unfunded. There's been some residents requesting that we
Vice
replace
Mayor
it.
you're aware of all the requests that we've got, and it looks like the residents within the area, they wanted to contribute $50,000 toward this project. At this time, the estimated cost is about $310,000, and that is for the replacement of the Spyglass pier. Initially, this pier was built, I think it was probably in the early 2000s, maybe even before that, was built by private citizens on city right-of-way. So somehow, it was under the impression that the citizens will do the maintenance, but I'm not sure if that was the case. So it wasn't on any city's list of insurance. So when we had the damage from Matthews and Irma, we tried to apply for the FEMA reimbursement. I guess it was denied. My assumption would be because we didn't have an insurance on it, we didn't know. We tried to get with FEMA, and they change staff so often. We had a number for it. We gave them the number. I guess this was probably a week ago or so.
Right.
And somehow the guy, he couldn't even, their number that they gave us, he said he couldn't find it. So the bottom line right now is and this is an estimated cost, it's not an actual cost. We did not put it out to bid, but it's about $310,000. And she based it on the cost that we received on Rocco. Square footage, in terms of the square footage of the dock itself. So that's something that probably when we talk about the capital, that's one of the items that it's there for the commission to reconsider. I think we brought it to the commission, I think twice, and it was for the commission, they decided to demolish it. But we have quite a few residents that they want us to keep it, and they're willing to contribute the $50,000. So I don't know if Vice Mayor, you have anything to add?
And what was that figure again? They would be willing to contribute?
The one they are willing to contribute?
Yes.
50,000.
50 or 15?
50.
50. I speak to them all the time. They email me all the time. That's the first time I heard a number.
Well, I asked them yesterday, I said if you could just share a number with me, and I think they copied you in the email, probably haven't seen it, Vice Mayor, but, so I asked them to give me a number that I could share with you, and that's the number they provided.
Okay, obviously, we'll talk about it on the unfunded portion. It's a unique situation out there. I haven't seen any of the repair estimates or anything and they've asked to see them because apparently they would take a smaller pier, which might be a cheaper pier, but we would have to look into that.
The thing is for the pier to get out to the open area, it's quite a bit through the marsh, so I'm not sure what they're gonna cut out of it. Maybe the platform at the end. I don't
Yes.
think it was that big to begin with, so, but if you look at an aerial and you could see where the dock is, I mean, if you wanted to have a dock, you'd be able to get out to the open area. It's quite a distance, so. I have not talked to them personally. This is through an email. So.
Yes. No, we'll just look into it, that's all. I wouldn't want to spend the $30,000 to take it away if there's a chance that part of it could be salvaged. So it's just before we can, at least for me, make any decision, I would have to look into the details better. Thank you.
Oops, and those prices came from 2018 when we went out on a bid for 5 different dock projects. And those were kind of right after the storm, so I don't know if the prices would be lower at this point if we went out to bid or not.
Correct.
But,
It's just I don't want to take the pier away until we really
Right.
know if that's the correct thing to do.
Okay. The last one on here is the North Causeway. It needs some repair of the substructure, timbers, and the decking. We were pushing that out into next year, the east side of the North Causeway. I think you're all familiar with the bridge replacement projects, road resurfacing. We were hoping for another $700,000 this year to continue our road resurfacing program. Oops, and I see I have a boo-boo there that had that North Causeway in there twice. Stormwater, we talked about those. Just as far as unfunded, I mean, I know Colin's gonna bring it up later, but the Smith Street facility and our storage bay, you know, to protect our equipment and our personnel, those are really something we need to address and decide whether we're gonna keep the locations the way they are or if we're gonna change in 2 years. That'll be good to know. This next slide just goes over some of our accomplishments for the last year. We put in the new playground equipment at Pettus Park. We added the ADA ramp at Esther Street. We resurfaced a total of 5.9 miles of city streets with our budget.
Go back,
Sorry.
if you don't mind, to the previous.
Yep.
On
Sorry.
the road resurfacing, this budget has $700,000.
This, but 20,
Okay, I just want to make sure that
for
it's.
2021, right. I don't know where I got the 500 if I was told that it was gonna maybe change.
That's probably from 3-5 years ago, but it's okay, as long as we have this budget here is
Yeah,
700,000.
for 2021 is 700.
And talking about resurfacing, I just want to bring out one item that it's not on the list of resurfacing, but it's in dire need of resurfacing. That is Canal Street. If you drive on Canal Street, you'll see the condition of it. The last time we did the resurfacing on it, I think it was in the probably mid-2000, and that was in the range between $250,000 to $350,000. So I'm not sure what the cost today is, but that is something that it's going to be needed, if not this year, next year. I don't know where it's on the list.
I'll have to check that one too.
Yeah, but it's really, it's in dire need of resurfacing, so.
So you bring up an interesting question. That was, you nailed my question. Where is it on that list? Because I have
I
due
can,
to-
I can bring that back this
Well-
afternoon. I'll look it up.
Well, the reason I don't need you to bring it back, but certainly I want to take a look at it and put it as a seed in the minds of the commission. Lake Fairgreen Circle, you could practically skate on it. It was in bad shape, but it was way down the list.
Right.
So I wonder if that list is still reflective. How accurate is that list to what actually needs to be done? So that is something I just want to bring up.
Right.
Don't need to bring it up today. I just want to put that seed everybody's mind is whether or not that measurable is actually
Right.
working and accurate. So, thank
Well,
you.
and that's why we have engineering involved, and they go by the list, but then they also look at what other, they switch out streets if they feel they're more necessary than the list has. So we moved some things around last time. The other thing, we've had some concerns from residents is the North Causeway bike path that's asphalt instead of sidewalk type. So people have said that. I have engineering looking at that because I've been told the only way to deal with the tree roots would be to resurface that. Unless Khalid has more on that idea.
Well, you're talking about the bike path.
Right,
That was done by DOT, probably in the 90s, late 90s. But it has a thick layer of asphalt on it. Now, what happened is probably
tree roots.
some of the damage that you're seeing is probably from the trees. The roots for the trees probably coming up across and making the asphalt to bubble up a little bit. So I have not seen it myself. This is based on complaints that she received, but I know our engineering staff, they're looking at it and they'll probably come up with a recommendation for it. But I would not expect that we have to do the whole stretch. We might have to go in and maybe open cuts a couple of areas. I don't know how many areas there are, but that would not be, at this point, I don't expect it to be significant.
Comment, Vice Mayor?
Yes,
Since Canal Street in the business downtown district is a premier showcase street, it's probably been quite a few years since probably all of us have noticed it's in very disrepair. So I think, as Jason had spoken, where are things on a list? That should be a real high priority. I mean, people come to our lovely town, and where do they go? Canal Street, Flagler, and you can practically have to dodge all the humps and bumps and divots in that road. If we could get that pushed up on a list, it would reflect on the quality of our city.
we did a very detailed study, obviously, that we paid a lot for, and it was, took into account all kinds of parameters. Certainly, there are streets in it that were characterized the wrong way. My old business that I used to have was in that field, and just personally, I don't see the big problem with Canal Street, whereas we have other ones. So, yes, it's something we could consider. I think that we got to go by the list to apportion which streets we're going to do. I wasn't particularly happy with the way it was done last time, and the plans for this year, so I really want to look at that at the time. But speaking budget-wise, it's $700,000 right now.
Right.
And we will have to take a close look at that with our lack of revenue coming
Right.
in.
Okay, whoops.
Faith, these are all funded, correct, what you just showed?
These are what I'm telling you we've done, just, these are our accomplishments this last
No,
year.
the last slide.
The what, the last
The
slide?
last slide.
All funded under, they're proposed under this budget, that's the
Okay.
commission's final, decision, so. Just going over a couple of these, of course, we did the transition for the solid waste, marina restrooms, we hope to construct next year. We did our first, we put a steel storage building next to the sports complex property by the football stadium. We, for the hurricane that didn't come, we did our sandbag distribution with filled bags and our new sandbagging machine. I think the residents were appreciative of that. And the other is our routine, maintaining our contracts and stuff. This last slide is just focusing on our goals for next year. I think we should focus on continuing to maintain all our properties, hopefully coordinate with the city's consultants and find, if we get the funds, to replace the Buena Vista Pier. We also were provided a grant for a tree inventory and risk assessment of city properties. We'll be doing that. Marina, road resurfacing. So those are just going over our goals for this next year. And if you have any questions for myself or the managers that are here, turn it back over to you.
Questions?
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Sacks?
Faith, this is in no way a criticism, but an observation of our landscaped areas,
Okay.
mostly the medians. I noticed near Mission and Wallace, I think it's that general area, we are constantly trying to replant and beautify those areas.
That's a quarterly replanting program. They replant those flowers quarterly. That is part of their contract. And I know it's, we get trash in there, we get weeds in there. It is maintenance.
Yes, but it's kind of incongruous with when I look at South Atlantic. Of course, I live in that area, so
Right.
I see it a lot. Occasionally, maybe it's seasonal, it looks okay, and then it looks really bad. And then I was riding my bicycle up Cooper and noticed those little medians in Cooper are kind of in the same disrepair. Something of note. Again, I'm not criticizing you guys'
I know
work.
they look good for a while, and then
It's hard.
It's a matter of when we get behind in the summer, definitely with the rain and how fast everything grows. But we'll look at those
Do you
again.
think it's a wise decision to look at Florida native plants? Would that help us in any way?
It could. I mean, I thought we do pretty much.
I know we
But-
do some,
Okay.
but I wonder,
To focus more on those. Okay.
that would be really cool. We'd attract more butterflies and bees, which is, I think, the kind of city we should be. Thanks.
Okay.
Commissioner Hartman, anything?
I've got a couple questions. Under the parks budget, there's a line item here for the scissor lift rental at $8,500.
We normally have to rent that to put the lights up in the trees on Canal. We are replacing the Christmas tree this budget year, at Christmas Park. So they use the lift for that. They use it for, we rent it mainly for the holiday season to put the lights up and down on the, we use a bucket truck on one side, and then we use that to try to get it done. It takes us a couple weeks to put all the decorations up.
So obviously, we don't have one in the fleet.
Right.
I mean, if we're doing this cost every year, what's the purchase price of one of these?
I know we had that. I thought it was, depends on which, how high of a reach you want to. So
Right.
we can look at a price for that.
Yeah, I mean, because we're doing it every year anyway.
Right.
I don't see that going away. So at some point in time, it may be more cost-effective to purchase one.
To purchase one. Okay.
I had a question about, that we talked about, so,
With the phones.
yeah.
Yeah, that's IT.
And then, you have so many different sections of this budget, so you just. That's it, I think. Thanks.
Okay.
Mr. Vice Mayor, one quick
Yeah, go right ahead.
request.
Sure.
And I know this is for a wish list, but it's something I do think we need. If we could look or cost out the price of a portable bathroom, I notice a lot of cities have everything from porta-johns to really high-quality trailers made of
I don't have the
stainless.
numbers here with me, sir, but I think we've done that.
We did some, we looked into it, and I think I gave you the price. There was a couple of different type of restrooms that they could use on a trailer that you requested, but I can't remember the exact number for it. But
Okay,
but we did look into it.
Since we have so many events and, you know, the restaurants and stores sometimes like people to come in and go to the bathroom, some don't. And now in this age of the pandemic, I don't know how soon we could do this, but it might be wise that we had trailer dedicated for that.
I know we looked at prices, we can pull that up again. It depends, you know, if you're gonna have a handicap spot, you're gonna have the regular, you know, how big you get, where it'll fit, what trailer it'll fit on, that
Yes.
kind of stuff.
Thanks for checking that out.
Yeah, just on that subject, generally rental works better because you don't have to drag it from one place to the other. You don't need the manpower to empty it and monitor it.
Right.
So it's definitely worth looking into. Most places that I've gone to, they just
Right.
end up renting it because it gives you a lot of flexibility also. And it's not something that would just sit on a side a lot of times.
Right.
So, okay. I have no particular questions other
Okay.
than my concern that funding, we just simply might not have the money to do everything.
Right.
So in your spare time, think of who you want to lop off the list.
Oh, okay, all right,
Thank you very much. It was a very,
Thank
very
you.
good presentation.
thank
So,
you.
I'm sorry,
Oh, did you find your question?
yeah, so we're gonna charge each department $2.50 a gallon for fuel?
That, I mean, that's what we do now when we charge it back, right, Garrett?
It depends on.
Okay.
It depends on, this is what the budgeted number.
Right,
But
because
depending on
you
the-
could go to Wawa and buy it 50
Depending on
cents
the
cheaper.
purchase price that he gets, yeah.
Well, he tries to average it out for the year, because we don't
Right,
know if it's gonna
right.
go up or down.
That's it, it's just like, that number is like,
I think this
Whoa.
year it was $2.75.
yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the other things we got to take into account is most newer vehicles require higher octane rating, which they really get you on.
We're good?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Faith.
All right, good morning, Development Services.
Good morning.
Development Services, 3 divisions, building and inspections, planning and engineering. Our current staff loads are building inspections, we have 16. As discussed earlier, we are adding code enforcement. There are 4 code enforcement officers who are proposed to be joining us, would bring us to a staff of 20 in the building department. Planning has 4, including Stephanie, the Development Services Coordinator. She really covers planning and engineering, that's counting her. And we currently have 5 in engineering, and then myself as the director. Going back to code enforcement real quick, just in my experience, code enforcement in some agencies is with the building department. Sometimes it's in the police department, sometimes it's by itself. It can work in any of those arrangements. We already work very closely with code enforcement on all sorts of permitting issues, business tax items, so I think it'll be seamless to bring them in with us, and I'm hopeful that we will be able to help code enforcement evolve into a little bit more adopting our customer service orientation. Maybe slightly less from a law enforcement point of view and more we want to bring properties into compliance. That's a goal of code enforcement. That's a goal of the building department. So I'm not going to read all of this to you on our vision. permit volume has been and remains very high. We had a slight dip at kind of the onset of the pandemic and in the March, April, May timeframe of maybe a 10% drop, but it's really picked back up. The number of home improvement projects is above normal, not only locally, but nationally right now. As folks aren't just staying home all the time, it's a good time to, improve things. Our goal, I stood here last year and said our goal was to have all plan and permit reviews in 15 business days or less. We have made progress. We are not there. At least consistently. There have been moments in time with certain permit types that we have been there, but not across the board for all permit types. So we are making progress to get there still. So in this budget, we have proposed in building adding 2 more positions. We added 3 positions last year, proposing to add 2 more this year. Those are actually, we're asking to add those right now. They're on the August 25th agenda. That's a new permit tech and a new plans examiner. And the reason why we're advancing those is, especially with the plans examiner, it's really hard to find a good quality plans examiner in today's market. So as soon as we can get that out on the street, hopefully we can get some responses and get somebody hired in that position. That target is for current homeowners who are doing kind of small scale improvements to their homes, generators, air conditioning units, somebody with a mechanical background is what we would be looking for in that role. Let's see, we also have new software that we've been training on for about a year now. It's scheduled to go live at the end of this year, perhaps in early 2021. That will help us on speed and efficiency and customer service. It's going to be faster. It's more user-friendly. It's very, the customers will be able to go in and find the status of their permit, do more on their own, less on phone calls, in-person visits, less paper. So we're excited about that. Taking a step back, we were talking a little bit about growth earlier. Just within the past year, from April of 2019 to April of 2020, we just got our population estimate, about 1,200 increase in our population just in that 1 year, which is about a 4.5% increase. That brings us, our permanent population is just over 28,000. This is as of April this year. Obviously, we're in a census, and that number will be adjusted based on, but that's what the current estimate is. So a lot of growth is what that shows, and I know that's discussed in some of the other budgets. Let's see. And then secondly, just, this is all of our metrics. Our key metric is stakeholder satisfaction, and growth and development services is a huge issue here. You get a lot of input on it. And the challenge is we have so many stakeholders. We have the commission, we have citizens, we have our boards, we have developers, contractors, people in all aspects of development are our stakeholders. And we listen to them all, and we try and meet their needs and balance their needs with the needs of the community. But that's what makes development services a challenge. It makes it interesting every day. So getting into our budget, start with planning and engineering. It's about a $1.1 million budget. Last year, we made a significant cut, about 15%, and that was primarily, we had been outsourcing a lot of reviews that we are now doing those in-house with the same staff. And what it was is we weren't recovering those outsourced fees for new development. And so new development should pay for the service that's needed to review their plans. That really wasn't being done, and we're in the process of correcting that. So that was one step of reducing our outsourced services. Looking ahead to this year, on paper, at least what you have, our budget's basically flat. We reduced our operating expenses by almost 25%. What you have shows personnel going up about 11%. However, that is based on, we have 3 open positions. We have my position, the director. We have a planning director and a senior planner. We are only planning on filling 2 of those 3 positions. So, and our rationale is that, at least for this year, if we hire a development services director who has a planning director, I don't believe we need to also have a planning director working in the next office. I just think that's there's too much overlap and inefficiency there. So we think we can eliminate the planning director at least for a year, hire a senior planner. We had 2 junior planners. I think in our city with our demands, senior planners are needed. We need folks who can come in, have experience working with development, and can work independently. But if we eliminate that planning director, that's a significant reduction. It takes our budget from basically flat to a net decrease and could free up some funds for some of the other needs we've been talking about today. Building inspections, a special revenue fund. It's always tough to project building. We are projecting a slight increase in overall revenue going forward. As I mentioned, we are adding 2 positions, adding code enforcement. There is a capital project I know we can talk about now or later this afternoon on a property acquisition for $750,000. That's for a potential parking facility in the City Hall area. Here. And then finally, just looking ahead, kind of key goals for us is the permit review time is really important, and we're getting there, but that's priority 1, without compromising quality. We're not rubber stamping plans. We have a very highly qualified professional staff, and we want to continue that high standard, but we need to reduce permit review time. Code enforcement, I mentioned kind of adopting a more customer service approach. With staff, we want to, and department's done an outstanding job, Gary has, of really building career paths and getting the proper licenses for staff. He inherited a group that didn't have all the qualifications, frankly, and he is working to bring them up to speed to have a very professional building staff. And lastly, as a manager, I don't know if we'll discuss it all today, but it's important to me is I call it employee wellness, things like building teamwork, training, getting to our department where, we take the time so people can schedule time off, so people are comfortable with their workload, that we can cover if somebody is absent. We had someone go on maternity leave, and it was a huge loss for us. We just don't have that depth. So we're trying to build the efficiencies to get to where people are, it's frenetic at times in the building department, of where we can get to a point where we're efficient but comfortable, and staff doesn't feel overwhelmed on a daily basis. That is a concern of mine. I do see it in employee stress sometimes. So that's as a management item, it's a priority for me. But I thank you for the opportunity to present to you today, and be glad to take any questions.
Commissioners. Mr. Hart.
Brian, what's the holdup with the software? I mean, it's been over a year, and we're projecting either another 4 or 5 months.
No holdup at all. We're actually on schedule. It takes a long time to roll out.
Okay.
And part of it is we bring staff into training. That takes them away from their work. So we don't want to do that every single week. But we did a schedule almost a year ago, and we're actually on that schedule today. But we don't want to roll it out if we're not truly ready to go live and have serious problems. So we're on schedule, and I hope that'd be November is the current schedule for that, to the go live date.
Okay. And the other thing, with referencing the code enforcement, if you're taking on 4 code enforcement and hiring 2 more people, where are you going to put them?
Good question.
Because I know the conversation was with the renovations of the old church that you were maxed out as far as space goes there.
We are. We're discussing various options of how to use the old City Hall chambers, how to use what will be the remaining building up at 2650, who will be moving into the new building at the City Hall Annex, and just, which pieces will fit where. I don't think we have the answer for that today, but.
But Commissioner Hartman, when we thought about moving it from the police department back to the building, and this building was already, we have the space is limited there.
Right.
But obviously the current commission chamber, at some point it was used as an offices. When we moved the city manager's office and commission and HR to the AOB side, this is way back, that commission chamber was turned into offices. We had like almost 8 offices in a conference room. So when we move into the new annex, that will be converted into offices. So obviously, right now, the code enforcement will be most likely there. I tried to keep him at the PD, at least for now, but at some point, he need the space as well, so. So
Right.
most likely, I would say they would be moving to City Hall.
So, I mean, that's the ancillary cost, but I don't see anywhere in the budget where we're doing construction to renovate chambers and the-
We did not, at the time, we did not actually, what we had is we had partitions. So we did not use any construction to build any new walls. We had partitions and we created the 8 offices there,
Okay.
so the cost was very minimal.
All right. Thank you.
Brian, I want to thank you for a good presentation and being candid where you are and where you're not. I know that we're not where we should be yet with some of the permitting, especially with the locals. So I appreciate your candidness on that and want to thank you for recognizing that. That's very important to me, acknowledging where we're doing good, where we could do better. That's fantastic. So I like your efficiencies. I like your ideas. I just want to remind you that, what gets lost is you guys get overburdened when we have large-scale developments come in. Everybody gets overtasked. And it's hard to plan for that and adjust to it quickly because growth comes with economies and they come fast and they end quickly. But I do appreciate you recognizing the problem with the permits and doing what you can. I know you say, and I agree with you, you don't need that overlap of an executive planner. I'm not sure the exact word you used, but I do want to make sure that we have enough people in place to be able to deal with the local people who are small business, carpenters, contractors, being able to keep a momentum going because their business is so much of a feast and famine. So good job. Thank you for the presentation and acknowledging where the weaknesses are that we're still working on.
Thank you.
So thank you, Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Sacks?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I wonder if we should consider keeping, I know we had discussions about, I think it's 2650. It seems like we're going to need that room for more staff. And it always bothers me, just from a layman's standpoint, we're hiring more planning staff for a city that's growing bigger and bigger, yet we still don't have the revenue. We're still behind the 8 ball and suffering. Now, I know these are really stressful times, but it seems like, again, just to reiterate, our staff is growing to meet the needs of developers who want it now, and small projects. I know I've called you on several, and you've been very good about getting staff on little projects, but it's like we can't keep up. And then we have this issue about prioritizing and implementing the LDRs for these updates, CCSL. Gosh, as long as I've been here, we've never really finalized that discussion. No, I'm not criticizing you, Brian, but our commission has not gotten there. A question, landscaping, that's for new projects, new developments, that discussion?
It's our entire landscaping code, which we touched it last year with the historic tree ordinance, which was
Yeah.
a real high priority item, but we kind of did that separately, and now there's still the remainder of the day-to-day that still needs an update.
Yes. Well, thanks. I know you guys work hard. I've made the statement before that you can't see the personnel for the piles of paper in front of them.
And Commissioner Sacks, on the revenue side, I mean, if you look at the building department, I mean, they have almost over $8 million. So the problem is it's because it's an enterprise fund. So we have, I mean, our fees are probably, I would say, if they're not on top, they're probably just below the top in terms of the review and the inspections and so forth. So, I don't know what else to do with revenue, but we tried, and we have an excess of almost $8 million, so.
Being an enterprise fund, it can only stay there, correct? That it can't be moved to where we need it.
I mean, we try to utilize some of it, you know, based on the services we provide, but it's, I mean, you recall the lawsuit that happened some time back. We even tried to borrow money from the building fund with an interest, and that wasn't acceptable to the Home Builders Association. So it's very strict revenue and funds to be able to utilize. So
Thanks,
it has to be strictly related with the building department activities.
Commissioner Sachs, you have any more questions specifically related to the budget?
No, thank you.
Okay. No, I think you're operating very well, but sticking to the budget end of it, Commissioner Cartman hit on something very important. Where are these 5 people going to go? And there's nothing in the budget for that. Perhaps they're going to have to stay in the building where they're in for now. I would like us to vacate and sell that building north of the airport. One of the things I truly believe in is we have a central business district, restaurants, whatever. And the more people we bring into that area, the better off we are as a city. So if I see a bunch of contractor trucks out there, I know they all drink a lot of coffee. So it brings business in there, and I would like us to explore options to house our employees in the Canal Street area. So budget-wise, I don't have any questions. It's very good.
We have, by the way, I think it was Commissioner Hartman has asked me to provide a list of all city properties, and specifically vacant properties and vacant land. So we have that list. One of the items, obviously, it's the 2650 building. We even tried to purchase it with building department funds because they were trying to, just as I guess for maybe for future use, that would be using it for training, maybe for additional staff, even for code enforcement. But we couldn't utilize the building funds to purchase the building. However, we will be able to utilize the building funds to purchase the vacant property at the corner of Faulkner and Washington for parking. So we try to do that, but the list is available. I think I asked Brian to bring it with him if you have it. So at any point, if you want to look at that list and see which properties that you think may be a possibility that you want to, whether put it out for sale, whatever you want to do. I mean, we're ready for it.
Okay, I just think we need, and it's not budget related, but on that, we have utility commission building. We don't know what they're going to do. We have the county buildings there, which are highly underutilized right now. We don't know what their plans are for those buildings. So I think we just have to have a general discussion as to how to bring ourselves together in one place and attract more people into the area. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you have a couple of options here. If you wanted to just break for the lunch and then come back, and then we could maybe discuss the unfunded capital projects. So this way you have an idea before Mark make his presentation at 4:45 or whatever that time is. So it's up to you. We could do both.
I think we should take a lunch break. What I would like you to do is speak with Mark and see if he can get here earlier.
Yes, we will. To see
So
if he-
I don't want to.
I asked him to come an hour earlier anyway before this happened. So
He said he
Yes.
will be by 3 o'clock. He will be
Very good, very good.
So
So
we'll-
we can
we'll be able
adjust our
to-
schedule as necessary.
So we'll be able to discuss with you the capital for unfunded right after lunch.
Yes, very good. Okay, we're going to take a break. It's about 5 minutes to 12 right now. We'll be ready to go in an hour.